Hey, America, André. This is a party story. One time I was at this comedy festival in Montreal. I decided to buy a bunch of drugs for the comedians. I bought some Molly off this guy that looked like Tricky, but if he was white. I bought Molly off the white Tricky. He kind of sounded like the white Tricky dude. He's like, I'm cooking up beats in my laundry room. He had like weird seal scars on his face, you know, seal, Kiss from a Rose. His cheeks were all like, they look like the Rocky Mountains. Imagine if he had like a mountain range on his cheeks. So we stocked up on all this Molly. I decided to eat Molly and go see Neil Hamburger perform.
What is the only thing uglier than Limp Bizkit fans? The only thing uglier than Limp Bizkit fans. Limp Bizkit merch. Well, you.
And I turned to my buddy Carl while I was eating Molly. I was like, man, this feels fantastic. We should probably eat a ton more. And we started like wolfing it down, but that was a terrible idea because my eyes started like convulsing in the back of my head, like harder than I've ever had from rolling. It was like Mike Tyson was uppercutting my eyeballs one at a time. And I was like, oh, this is the part of the night where I go to the hospital. So I ran outside. I was like, oh, I gotta get back to the hotel. My eyes were convulsing so hard. It's like my eyeballs had the Bionic Woman sound effect. And they were each going up their own like escalator. That's the only way I can describe it. It was like the sidewalk looked like stairs because my eyes were like twitching around in my brain. So I was like, no, I can't even make it back to the hotel. I'm gonna run around the corner and make myself puke. I had a mohawk at the time too, and I was like sunburnt. My skin was bright red, and I had all these veins in my head. I looked like the lead singer of Fishbone. Anyway, I ran around the corner and I started making myself throw up, and I was like plowing my finger in the back of my throat, like, bah, bah. But I was on so much Molly that it kind of felt good. It was like I was fingering my throat, and my uvula was like a giant clit. I was like, like getting to third base with my mouth. I finally booted up a little poison, and then I felt great. I was rolling balls, and I was wasted. My eyes were like making a broken glass sound effect every time they opened. I had like bodybuilder bicep veins in my eyeballs, and I had all this puke, looked like egg yolk, all like climbing down my hands. I ran around the corner, tried to get back into the venue, and my agent was right there, and he's like, Eric, where you been? I want to introduce you to Stu. He runs the Dallas Improv. And this guy, he looked like one of the more peripheral characters from Wolf of Wall Street. He had like Ed Hardy, like button-up shirt and like hair plugs and gel in his hair, and he was like hot pink. He had like hot dog colored skin. And he was like, nice to meet you. You got to play my club sometime. And then he shook my hand with like all the bile. And I was just like, hey. I looked like Ren and Stimpy combined. And he didn't even notice. I think he was wasted. We were both different sorts of wasted. He's like caressing my puke-filled hand. And I was like, oh, yeah, I'd love to do your club, man. Are you mad at me? Then I went back into the club where Neil Hamburger was playing. And I think a long time had passed, maybe hours had passed, because it was now a party. Maybe it was a different building. And then I had some really bad unprotected sex with a half Japanese girl. You know, MDMA, the A is amphetamine, so my penis didn't work, and I don't know, she was kind of like a wet blanket. I mean, I'm no Brad Pitt, I'm sure. So, at the end of the day, I won. It's a lesson for you kids to learn. Make mistakes.